These are my tips for riding in extreme heat. I stopped by this beautiful backdrop here to discuss how I ride in extreme heat. Our weather over the last 5 weeks has ranged from lows of 90 degrees overnight and 115 degrees during the day for highs. This goes on for the foreseeable future, probably the next several weeks, unless we get a monsoon storm. Let's get the first two, probably most unpopular ones, out of the way first. The first one is no caffeine. Caffeine's a diuretic. It will run the water out of you. Alcohol, avoid alcohol the night before and that day, because both of these things will dehydrate you. That being said, what you can do to promote hydration is pre-hydrate the night before. Typically, I personally like to get an electrolyte in me, probably like Powerade, Gatorade, something like that. I usually pound one of those and then drink as much water as possible. It's more critical to drink water, straight water, than Gatorade or something like that. That's going to give you the most benefit. So to continue hydration, the morning of, as soon as your feet hit the floor, make a beeline to the water faucet and get yourself a drink of water. And as you're getting ready, continuously drink water. Now, both of these activities, especially if you're of a certain age, will get you up at 2 a.m. in the morning and make you have to stop. But a few extra stops really probably won't hurt most people. Throughout your riding day, you're going to want to continue hydration. The recommended amount of hydration in high temperatures is 32 ounces or a quart or 1 liter of water per hour. You can do this by either carrying bottles if you've got the luggage capacity or a camelback, but continually drinking water, forcing those fluids as you're going along throughout your day is going to help you, because you're doing an activity. Motorcycling is a physical sport, believe it or not, especially if you're riding dual sport adventure motorcycles off-road, or if you're riding sport bikes or standard bikes on pavement. You're expending calories and water, and you're going to need to replenish those in a linear fashion. Foods, you're going to want to limit your intake of food. The more food you eat, the more water your body's going to require to process it. So limiting your meals to small meals, maybe small spread out meals, and eating salty foods like salted nuts, chips, or crisps, Doritos, things like that will help you maintain a sodium level and keep that water in you longer. The temperature of the water doesn't really matter, just as long as you're taking in fluid. Colder is obviously better. If you find yourself in a situation where you're overheated, you're feeling heat stress, one of the things you can do is take an ice cold bottle of water and put it on your carotid arteries on both sides of your neck. You leave it on there for several minutes and you switch over, because you'll start to feel less of a cold effect. It's not necessarily that your skin's just getting used to the coldness. So to move that over to the other side, alternate sides, and that'll help cool your core temperature down, your brain temperature down, because a lot of blood flows through there. A little bit of cold bottle against your neck is going to help you out. The next bit is clothing. So I use a mesh jacket. When you purchase your mesh jacket, make sure you buy a good quality jacket. This particular has a mesh with a tensile strength of like 5,000 pounds or something like that. It has D3O armor. But one of the things you really want to look at when you purchase these vests is the more pockets you have, the less airflow. And if you look at those pockets, you need to make sure that they're perforated. In extreme heat weather, you want to empty those pockets of anything that could block airflow. So you really want to keep anything in your pockets or in saddlebags. You don't really want to wear a backpack if you can transport your water some other way other than a backpack. However, water is the most important, and if you have to use a backpack, go ahead and do that. However, keeping that back airflow so that there's a flow through your garment is really important. So anything you can get out of your jacket, the better.
Hey man, nice bike.
Thank you, appreciate it. The next thing I really want to show you is one of the key things that takes the edge off. It's not going to help you hydrate. It's not, and you know, maybe a little bit because you do induct water through your skin, but it does take the edge off of the heat. And this is a cooling vest. You want to get this as close to your skin as possible over a t-shirt. If you can, put it right up against your skin and wear it underneath your jacket. Skip the t-shirt. I usually stop in places, so I usually like to keep the t-shirt on. But if you put this over your t-shirt, and even if you soak your t-shirt, it's going to help cool. This gives you a evaporative cooling effect. This vest is filled with gel. You pre-hydrate it, and then soaking wet, you put it on. Now that may not be the most comfortable thing right away, but over your ride it's going to dry out. I would say probably every hour or so you're going to need to rehydrate this. The best way I've found to hydrate this initially in the morning is I've got a set tub, a set sink, slop sink, mop sink in my house. So I just fill that up with about 6 inches of water. I put this in here, and as I'm getting my gear and stuff together, be that an hour or half hour or 45 minutes, it just sits there and soaks up all that water. The more it sits in water, the more it's going to soak up. When I'm ready to go, just before I'm ready to put my jacket on, I put this vest on, put the jacket on over it, and that'll keep some water, keep you with the most water that you can actually have in the vest. So it's going to give that maximum start to the day. As you move throughout the day, you don't want to use your water that you have on the bike, but as you do gas stops, you want to probably buy a gallon of water. You can buy cheap gallons of water at convenience stores, pound some of that water yourself, and then take the rest of that gallon and put it on your vest to soak it back in. So that'll maintain your hydration, plus it'll maintain the hydration of the vest. I'll throw a link down below for where I bought the vest. I got it through Amazon. They're fairly cheap. I've got a couple of them. Sometimes on long trips, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag. I'll pre-hydrate them, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in my saddle bag, and I can swap them out. So the next thing you really want to make sure you have is a helmet that has good airflow. Read the reviews, read the manufacturer's specifications on it. What does it have for airflow? You want to make sure that it doesn't have mass airflow like a dirt bike helmet, but you want to make sure that there's ports in that chin bar. You want to make sure there's ports on the top, and then obviously exhaust ports out the back. If you get too much airflow, it's going to be really dry, and it's going to soak away or evaporate any of that liquid that you have in you. So anything you have exposed to wind or heat or sun is going to dry up. But it's very critical to have a good high flow helmet. So the next thing you want to take a look at is what you're wearing on your legs. So one of the things I do that's kind of counter to what we're talking about here is I wear motorcycle riding pants, whether that is these motorcycle jeans with D3O armor in them, or adventure pants. Whatever you're looking at, I recommend that you don't use mesh. If you use mesh, it's going to dehydrate you, plus you're going to get more heat off of the engine. The better off you are with a set of closed pants, you're probably going to have like these jeans or something like that. The airflow is going to not have as much effect on your body. It's going to protect you from the engine heat. My final tip is airflow. So you've got all this mesh gear on, you've hydrated, you've got a cooling vest, you've got a good flow helmet. The one thing that's going to destroy all that is if you've got a giant windshield. If you've got one of those giant barn door Lexan polycarbonate windshields in front of you, that's going to stop all of the airflow that's going to help you cool down. It's going to stop your helmet from working properly, your jacket from working properly, and if you've got a cooling vest, keep your cooling vest from working properly. If you've got a adjustable windshield on your bike, lower it down as much as possible. I know a lot of them are integrated into the bikes. Most of them that come from manufacturers are fairly reasonable, and they'll still give you enough airflow to make your gear work. So if you have any tips, put them down in the comments. Any more information is better that we share it. I really wanted to get this out here because I know a lot of folks that ride in Arizona in the Southwest right now, or they're in the thick of the heat, and any communication we can have to keep people safe is better off. Well, those are my tips. If you have any of your own tips, please add them in the comments. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you watching. Adios.